Maya had always been a curious girl who loved exploring the old forest behind her grandmother's house. She spent every summer there, climbing trees and searching for hidden treasures that nobody else could find. One warm afternoon, while her grandmother was sleeping in her rocking chair, Maya decided to venture deeper into the forest than she had ever gone before. The trees grew taller and darker, and the sunlight barely reached the ground through the thick leaves above her head. She walked for what felt like hours until she came upon something strange. It was an old stone wall covered in green moss and climbing vines, and it stretched far into the distance on both sides. Maya had never seen this wall before, and she wondered how such a big thing could have stayed hidden from her all these years. The wall was very tall, much taller than Maya, and she could not see what was on the other side. But there was a small crack near the bottom, just big enough for a girl her size to squeeze through. Her heart was beating fast with excitement as she got down on her knees and crawled through the narrow opening. What she found on the other side made her gasp with wonder. It was a garden unlike anything she had ever seen. The flowers were colors she could not even name, some purple like the evening sky, and others orange like fire. Strange birds with long feathers sang songs from the branches of twisted trees, and a small stream ran through the middle of it all, its water sparkling like diamonds. Maya walked slowly through this magical place, touching the soft petals of flowers and listening to the music of the birds. She felt like she had stepped into another world, one that existed only in dreams and fairy tales. At the center of the garden stood an old fountain made of white stone. The water had long stopped flowing, and the basin was dry and cracked. But what caught Maya's attention was not the fountain itself. It was the small wooden box sitting on the edge of the basin, as if someone had left it there just for her to find. She picked up the box carefully and examined it closely. It was covered in strange symbols that she did not recognize, carved deep into the dark wood. The box was locked with a tiny golden latch that was shaped like a dragon with wings spread wide. Maya tried to open the latch, but it would not budge no matter how hard she pulled. She turned the box over and over in her hands, looking for another way to open it. That was when she noticed something written on the bottom in small letters. Only the brave of heart may unlock what lies within. She wondered what that could mean. Was there a special trick to opening the box, or did she need to prove her bravery somehow? Maya decided to take the box home and figure out its secrets later. She tucked it safely under her arm and made her way back through the crack in the wall. When she returned home, her grandmother was still sleeping peacefully. Maya crept up to her room and hid the box under her bed, planning to examine it more carefully after dinner. That night, Maya could barely eat her food. Her mind kept wandering to the mysterious box hidden upstairs. Her grandmother noticed that something was different about her granddaughter. "You seem distracted tonight, my dear," her grandmother said with a knowing smile. "Did you find something interesting in the forest today?" Maya almost choked on her soup. How did her grandmother know? She looked into the old woman's eyes and saw a twinkle there, like she was keeping a secret of her own. "I found a garden," Maya admitted, unable to lie to her grandmother, "behind an old stone wall that I never noticed before. And there was a box, a strange wooden box with a dragon on it." Her grandmother's face changed. The smile faded and was replaced by an expression Maya had never seen before. It was a mixture of surprise, fear, and something else. Was it excitement? "Show me this box," her grandmother said in a voice that was almost a whisper. Maya ran upstairs and brought the box down to the kitchen table. Her grandmother took it with trembling hands and studied it for a long time without saying a word. Tears began to form in her old eyes, and Maya grew worried. "Grandma, what is wrong?" Maya asked. "Do you know what this box is?" Her grandmother wiped her eyes and took a deep breath. When she spoke, her voice was shaky but filled with emotion. "This box belonged to my mother. "Your great-grandmother," she said. "I thought it was lost forever. I searched for it for years after she passed away, but I could never find where she had hidden it." Maya was shocked. She had found something that belonged to her own family, something that had been missing for so long. But why had her great-grandmother hidden it in that secret garden? And what was inside? "Your great-grandmother was a very special woman," her grandmother continued. "She knew things that others did not know. Things about this forest and the mountain that rises behind it. People used to call her a witch, but she was not evil. She was a keeper of secrets, a guardian of ancient magic." Maya listened with wide eyes. She had heard stories about her great-grandmother before, but never anything like this. She had always been told that the old woman was simply a healer who made medicine from plants. "The box contains something very important," her grandmother said. "Something that has been protected by our family for generations. But only someone pure of heart can open it, and I was never able to do so myself." She handed the box back to Maya with a serious look in her eyes. "Perhaps you are the one who is meant to open it. Perhaps this is why you found it today, after all these years." Maya looked down at the box in her hands. It felt heavier now, as if the weight of its secrets was pressing down on her. She touched the dragon latch and felt something strange. A warmth spread from the metal into her fingers, traveling up her arm and filling her whole body. The dragon's eyes, which had been closed before, suddenly opened and glowed with a soft golden light. Maya heard a click, and the latch sprang open on its own. Her grandmother gasped and leaned forward. Both of them held their breath as Maya slowly lifted the lid of the box. Inside, resting on a bed of red velvet, was a single golden key and an old piece of paper folded many times. Maya unfolded the paper carefully. It was a map, drawn by hand with ink that had faded, but was still readable. It showed the forest, the stone wall, the secret garden, and beyond them all, a path leading up to the peak of Shadow Mountain. At the very top was drawn a door, and next to it were these words: "The door to the lost kingdom awaits the chosen one." Maya and her grandmother looked at each other. A great adventure was about to begin, and nothing would ever be the same again. The next morning, Maya woke up before the sun had risen. She had barely slept all night, her mind racing with thoughts about the map and the mysterious door on Shadow Mountain. She looked at the golden key on her bedside table and felt a shiver run down her spine. Her grandmother was already awake and sitting at the kitchen table when Maya came downstairs. A cup of hot tea was waiting for her, and her grandmother had packed a small bag with food and supplies. "I knew you would want to go today," her grandmother said with a sad smile. "I am too old to climb the mountain with you, but I can tell you what I know about the journey ahead." Maya sat down and listened carefully as her grandmother spoke. She learned that the path to Shadow Mountain was dangerous and full of challenges that had stopped many travelers before. There were 3 tests that anyone seeking the Lost Kingdom had to pass, and each test was designed to reveal the true nature of the person's heart. "The first test is the Bridge of Truth," her grandmother explained. "It crosses a deep valley, and it can sense when someone tells a lie. If you try to cross while speaking falsely, the bridge will crumble beneath your feet." Maya nodded. She had always been an honest girl, so she was not too worried about this test. "The second test is the Cave of Shadows," her grandmother continued. "Inside the cave, you will meet your deepest fears. They will take shape and try to make you turn back. Only by facing them bravely can you pass through to the other side." This one worried Maya a little more. She was not sure what her deepest fears were, and the thought of meeting them face to face was frightening. "The third test is the most difficult," her grandmother said. "It is called the Choice of Sacrifice. I do not know exactly what it involves, because no one who has reached it has ever returned to tell the tale." A cold feeling settled in Maya's stomach. What if she never came back from this journey? What if she never saw her grandmother again? Her grandmother seemed to read her thoughts and reached across the table to hold her hand. "You do not have to do this," she said gently. "The choice is yours. You can put the key and the map away and live a normal life, and no one would think less of you for it." Maya thought about this for a long moment. She could stay here where it was safe and comfortable, helping her grandmother in the garden and exploring the forest like she always had. But something inside her, a voice that was small but strong, told her that she was meant for something more. "I have to go," Maya said firmly. "I need to know what is up there. I need to find out why our family has been guarding this secret for so long." Her grandmother's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled proudly at her granddaughter. "You truly are special," she said. "Your great-grandmother would have been so proud of you. I know you will succeed where others have failed." She gave Maya the bag she had prepared, along with a beautiful silver compass that had belonged to Maya's great-grandmother. "This compass will always point toward your true destination," her grandmother said. "No matter how lost you feel, trust it to guide you." Maya hugged her grandmother tightly, not wanting to let go. But finally, she stepped back and walked out the door into the cool morning air. The journey to the base of Shadow Mountain took most of the day. Maya followed the path on the map, walking through parts of the forest she had never seen before. The trees changed as she went deeper, growing stranger and more twisted with every step. By the time she reached the mountain, the sun was beginning to set. The mountain loomed above her like a sleeping giant, its peak hidden by dark clouds. Maya decided to make camp for the night and start climbing in the morning. She found a small clearing near a stream and set up her blanket under a large oak tree. As she ate the bread and cheese her grandmother had packed, she heard a rustling sound in the bushes nearby. Maya jumped to her feet, her heart pounding. Was it a wild animal or something worse? "Who is there?" she called out, trying to keep her voice steady. A small figure emerged from the bush. It was a boy about her age, with messy brown hair and dirt on his face. He looked just as surprised to see her as she was to see him. "I did not expect to find anyone else here," the boy said. "My name is Leo. I am searching for the Lost Kingdom too." Maya studied him carefully. He seemed friendly enough, but she had learned to be cautious. "How do you know about the Lost Kingdom?" she asked. Leo reached into his pocket and pulled out an old coin. On one side was an image of a mountain with a door at the top, and on the other side was a symbol that Maya recognized. It was the same symbol that was carved on the wooden box. "This coin has been in my family for generations," Leo explained. "My grandfather told me stories about a hidden kingdom in the mountains, where people with special gifts once lived. He said that one day, someone would find the way to open the door and restore the kingdom to its former glory." Maya felt a strange connection to this boy. Their family seemed to be linked by the same ancient secret. She decided to trust him. "I have the key to open the door," she said, showing him the golden key. "My grandmother gave me a map too. Maybe we are supposed to make this journey together." Leo's face lit up with hope and excitement. "I have been wandering in this forest for days, searching for any sign of the path," he admitted. "Will you really let me join you?" Maya smiled and nodded. Having a companion on this dangerous journey felt right, like it was meant to be. They spent the evening talking by a small fire that Leo helped her build. He told her about his village on the other side of the forest and how his grandfather had passed away last winter, leaving him the coin as his only inheritance. Maya told him about her grandmother and the secret garden where she had found the box. When they finally fell asleep, the stars were shining brightly above them. Neither of them noticed the pair of glowing eyes watching them from the shadows of the trees. The next morning, they began their climb up Shadow Mountain. The path was steep and rocky, and they had to stop often to catch their breath. The air grew colder as they went higher, and a thick mist began to surround them. By midday, they reached the Bridge of Truth. It stretched across a valley so deep that they could not see the bottom. The bridge was made of old rope and wooden planks, and it swayed gently in the wind. "This is the first test," Maya said, remembering her grandmother's words. "We must not speak any lies while crossing, or the bridge will collapse." Leo looked nervous. He gripped the ropes tightly and took a deep breath. "I will go first," he said. "If I make it across, you will know it is safe." He stepped onto the first plank, and the bridge creaked loudly. Maya watched with her heart in her throat as he slowly made his way across. When he reached the middle, a strange voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere at once. "Who dares to cross the Bridge of Truth?" The voice demanded. "Speak your name and your purpose." Leo stopped and stood tall. "My name is Leo," he said clearly. "I seek the lost kingdom to honor my grandfather's memory and to discover the truth about my family's past." There was a long pause. Then the voice spoke again. "You have spoken truly. You may pass." Leo continued across and safely reached the other side. He turned and waved to Maya with a relieved smile. Now it was her turn. Maya stepped onto the bridge and felt it sway beneath her. She walked slowly, holding the ropes tightly, until she reached the middle, and the voice called out to her. "Who dares to cross the Bridge of Truth?" It asked, "Speak your name and your purpose." Maya took a deep breath and spoke from her heart. "My name is Maya," she said. "I seek the lost kingdom to understand my family's history and to find out what destiny awaits me there." The voice was silent for a moment, and Maya feared she had said something wrong. But then it spoke with what almost sounded like approval. "You have spoken truly, and your heart is pure. You may pass." Maya hurried across the remaining planks and joined Leo on the other side. They hugged each other with relief and happiness. They had passed the first test together. But the hardest challenges were still ahead, and neither of them knew what awaited them in the Cave of Shadows. After crossing the Bridge of Truth, Maya and Leo continued their climb up Shadow Mountain. The path grew narrower and more dangerous with each step. Large rocks blocked their way, and they had to climb over them carefully to avoid falling into the misty valleys below. By late afternoon, they reached the entrance to the Cave of Shadows. It was a dark opening in the side of the mountain, surrounded by twisted black rocks that looked like frozen flames. A cold wind blew from inside, carrying whispers that seemed to speak their names. "This is where we face our deepest fears," Maya said, her voice shaking slightly. "My grandmother warned me about this place. The shadows inside will try to stop us." Leo stood beside her, his face pale but determined. "Whatever we see in there, we have to remember that it is not real," he said. "Our fears only have power if we let them control us." Maya nodded, grateful for his courage. Together, they stepped into the darkness of the cave. At first, they could see nothing at all. The darkness was so complete that Maya could not even see her own hand in front of her face. She reached out and grabbed Leo's hand, and they walked slowly forward. After a few minutes, a strange glow began to appear in the distance. It was a sickly green light that flickered like dying flames. As they walked toward it, the cave walls seemed to come alive with moving shadows. The shadows took shapes that made Maya's heart race. She saw monsters with sharp teeth, giant spiders with too many legs, and dark figures that reached toward her with grasping hands. But she remembered what Leo had said and kept walking. These were just shadows, not real creatures. Then the shadows changed into something far more frightening. They showed scenes from her life, twisted and horrible. Maya saw herself standing alone in a dark room, while voices all around her whispered cruel things. "You are not special," the voices said. "You are just a foolish girl who thinks she can be a hero. You will fail, and everyone will laugh at you. No one loves you, Another voice added. Your grandmother only pretends to care because she feels sorry for you. Your parents left you because they did not want you. Maya felt tears running down her cheeks. She knew these were lies, but they hurt so much to hear. She wanted to run away, to escape this terrible place and never come back. But then she felt Leo squeeze her hand, and she remembered that she was not alone. They are lying. Leo shouted. Do not listen to them, Maya. You are brave and kind and wonderful. Your grandmother loves you more than anything in the world. His words gave her strength. She wiped her tears and faced the shadows with new courage. You do not scare me anymore, she shouted. I know who I am, and I know that I am loved. Your tricks will not work on me. The shadows screamed with anger and rushed toward her. But just before they reached her, they disappeared like smoke in the wind. Now it was Leo's turn to face his fears. The shadows were formed around him, showing him different visions. He saw his grandfather lying sick in bed, looking up at him with disappointed eyes. You were never good enough, the shadow grandfather said. I gave you that coin because I had no one else to give it to. I never believed you could actually find the lost kingdom. You are a coward, another shadow said, taking the form of Leo's father. You run from every challenge. You will never amount to anything. Leo fell to his knees, his body shaking with sobs. Maya could see the pain in his face, and she knew she had to help him like he had helped her. Those are not real, Leo, she cried. Your grandfather loved you. He gave you the coin because he believed in you. And you are the bravest person I have ever met. Leo looked up at her with tear-filled eyes. Slowly, he rose to his feet and faced the shadows. My grandfather told me I was special, he said, his voice growing stronger. He said I had the heart of a lion and the soul of an explorer. I choose to believe in his love, not in these lies. The shadows let out a terrible shriek and dissolved into nothingness. The green light faded, and a new light appeared ahead, warm and golden like sunshine. Maya and Leo walked toward the light and emerged from the cave into a beautiful meadow. Flowers of every color covered the ground, and butterflies danced in the air. They had passed the second test. They collapsed on the soft grass, exhausted but happy. For a while, they just lay there, looking up at the blue sky and catching their breath. That was the hardest thing I have ever done, Leo admitted. The shadows knew exactly what to say to hurt me. Me too, Maya agreed. But we got through it together. We are stronger than our fears. They ate some food from Maya's bag and rested until they felt ready to continue. The peak of Shadow Mountain was now visible above them, closer than ever before. As they climbed, they talked about what might await them at the third test. My grandmother said it is called the choice of sacrifice, Maya told Leo. She did not know what it meant because no one has ever returned after reaching it. Leo thought about this for a moment. Maybe the people who passed the test did not need to return, he suggested. Maybe they found what they were looking for and decided to stay in the Lost Kingdom. Maya hoped he was right. The alternative was too scary to think about. By sunset, they reached a flat area near the peak. Before them stood an enormous stone gate covered in the same symbols as Maya's box and Leo's coin. The golden key around Maya's neck began to glow with a warm light. This is it, she whispered. The door to the Lost Kingdom. But before they could approach the gate, they heard a voice behind them. Stop right there. They turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows. It was a woman dressed in a long black cloak, with silver hair that flowed in the wind like water. Her eyes were cold and hard, and she carried a staff made of dark wood. Who are you? Maya demanded, stepping in front of Leo protectively. My name is Raven, the woman said with a cruel smile. And I have been waiting for someone to bring me that key for a very long time. She pointed her staff at Maya, and a beam of dark energy shot toward her. Leo pushed Maya out of the way just in time, and the beam hit a rock behind them, turning it to dust. "Give me the key, child," Raven demanded. "You have no idea what power lies behind that door. It would be wasted on simple peasants like you." Maya stood her ground, though her legs were shaking with fear. "This key belongs to my family," she said. "I will not give it to someone who attacks children." Raven laughed, a cold and hollow sound. "Your family," she sneered. "Your great-grandmother stole that key from me. She was supposed to be my partner, but she betrayed me and locked me out of the kingdom. I have been searching for that key for 50 years. Maya did not know what to believe. Was this woman telling the truth, or was she lying to trick her? "Even if what you say is true, I will not give you the key," Maya said firmly. "You tried to hurt us. Whatever is behind that door, you do not deserve to have it." Raven's face twisted with rage. She raised her staff again, preparing to attack. But before she could strike, something unexpected happened. A bright light burst from Maya's compass, blinding everyone. When the light faded, standing between them and Raven was a glowing figure that Maya recognized from old photographs. It was her great-grandmother, appearing as a spirit of pure light. "You shall not harm these children," the spirit said in a voice that echoed with power. "Your heart is full of darkness, Raven. You were never meant to enter the kingdom, and you never will." Raven screamed with fury and shot bolt after bolt of dark energy at the spirit. But every attack passed through without causing any harm. "This is not over," Raven shouted, backing away. "I will find another way. I will have what is rightfully mine." She disappeared in a swirl of black smoke, leaving Maya and Leo alone with the spirit of Maya's great-grandmother. The spirit turned to them with a gentle smile. "You have done well to come this far," she said. "I am so proud of you, my dear. Now you must face the final test and fulfill your destiny." Then she faded away, leaving only the moonlight to guide them toward the ancient door. Maya and Leo stood before the great stone door, still shaken by their encounter with Raven. The moonlight cast long shadows across the ancient carvings, and the golden key glowed brighter than ever. "We should rest before we go inside," Leo suggested. "We do not know what the final test will be, and we need all our strength." Maya agreed. They found a sheltered spot near the door and made a small camp. But neither of them could sleep. Their minds were too full of questions and worries. "Do you think Raven will come back?" Leo asked quietly. "I do not know," Maya admitted. "But we cannot let fear stop us. We have come too far to turn back now." As they talked, Maya thought about everything her grandmother had told her. The choice of sacrifice was the most mysterious of the 3 tests, and no one knew exactly what it meant. What would they have to give up to enter the Lost Kingdom? When the first light of dawn appeared over the mountains, they gathered their things and approached the door. Maya held the golden key in her trembling hand and looked for a place to use it. She found a small keyhole hidden among the carved symbols and inserted the key. The door began to glow with golden light. Slowly, it swung open, revealing a long tunnel that led deep into the mountain. Torches on the walls burst into flame, lighting the way. Maya and Leo walked through the tunnel hand in hand, their footsteps echoing off the stone walls. The air was warm and smelled of flowers, which seemed strange so deep inside a mountain. After what felt like hours, they emerged into a vast underground chamber. It was so big that Maya could not see the ceiling or the walls. In the center of the chamber was a beautiful garden filled with trees and flowers, and at its heart stood a magnificent crystal palace that sparkled with every color of the rainbow. "This must be the Lost Kingdom," Leo breathed. "It is more beautiful than I ever imagined." They walked through the garden toward the palace. The flowers seemed to turn toward them as they passed, and birds sang sweet songs from the branches of the trees. Everything was peaceful and perfect. When they reached the palace doors, They opened on their own. Inside was a great hall with a golden throne at the far end. But the throne was empty and the hall was silent. "Hello?" Maya called out. "Is anyone here?" Her voice echoed through the hall, and then a figure appeared before them. It was not a ghost or a spirit, but a real person. She was a tall woman with kind eyes and long silver hair, dressed in robes of white and gold. "Welcome, travelers," the woman said with a warm smile. "I am Alara, the last guardian of this kingdom. I have waited many years for you to arrive." Maya bowed respectfully. "My name is Maya, and this is my friend Leo," she said. "We have come to learn about this place and to understand why my family has protected its secrets." Alara nodded and gestured for them to follow her. She led them through the palace, showing them wonders that took their breath away. There were rooms full of ancient books, halls decorated with paintings of kings and queens, and gardens where magical creatures played. This kingdom was once home to people with special gifts, Alara explained. They could talk to animals, control the elements, and heal any sickness. But many years ago, a great evil threatened to destroy them. She led them to a room with a large painting on the wall. It showed a terrible battle between warriors of light and creatures of darkness. "The evil came from within our own people," Alara continued sadly. "Some of our gifted ones became greedy and wanted to use their powers to rule the world. They joined together and attacked their own families and friends." Maya thought of Raven. Was she connected to these dark events? The good people of the kingdom fought bravely, but they were not enough, Alara said. In the end, the last queen made a terrible choice. She sealed the kingdom away, hiding it from the world to protect both her people and the outside lands. "What happened to everyone?" Leo asked. "Most of them fell asleep," Alara answered. "A magical sleep that would keep them safe until someone pure of heart came to wake them. Only I remained awake to guard the kingdom and wait." She led them to another part of the palace where rows and rows of crystal beds stretched into the distance. On each bed lay a person sleeping peacefully, young and old alike. "These are the people of the Lost Kingdom," Alara said. "They have slept for over 100 years, waiting for the one who would set them free." Maya felt the weight of this knowledge pressing on her heart. All these people, frozen in time, counting on someone to save them. "How can we wake them?" she asked. Alara's face grew serious. "This is where the choice of sacrifice comes in," she said. "The spell that keeps them sleeping can only be broken by someone who is willing to give up something precious, something that matters more to them than anything else in the world." Maya felt cold fear grip her chest. "What kind of sacrifice?" she asked. "That is different for everyone," Alara replied. "The magic looks into your heart and finds what you love most. Then it asks if you are willing to give it up to save these people." Leo stepped forward bravely. "I am willing to sacrifice something," he said. "Tell me what I must do." Alara shook her head gently. "The sacrifice cannot be forced or demanded. It must come from within, at the moment when you truly understand what you are giving up." She led them to a small room with a golden mirror hanging on the wall. The mirror did not reflect their faces, but showed swirling colors and shapes. "This is the mirror of truth," Alara explained. "When you look into it, you will see what the sacrifice means for you. Then, you must decide if you are willing to make it." Maya stepped forward first. She looked into the mirror and gasped at what she saw. The mirror showed her grandmother's face, smiling with love and pride. Then it showed Maya herself, grown up and living in the kingdom, surrounded by the people she would save. But her grandmother was not there. The image showed her grandmother passing away alone, never seeing Maya again. "To wake these people, you must stay here in the kingdom forever," Alara said softly. "You can never return to the world above or see your grandmother again." Tears streamed down Maya's face. Her grandmother was the person she loved most in all the world. How could she leave her forever? But then she thought of all the sleeping people, innocent families who had done nothing wrong. They had waited so long for someone to help them, and now she was their only hope. Leo looked into the mirror next. His face went pale as he saw his own sacrifice. The mirror showed him becoming one of the sleepers, giving his life force to wake the others. He would not die, but he would sleep forever, never knowing if the kingdom had been saved. We cannot both make this sacrifice, Maya realized. It must be one or the other. They looked at each other with sadness and love. They had become true friends on this journey, facing their fears and fighting together. Now they had to make the hardest choice of all. I will do it, they both said at the same time. They smiled through their tears. Let me be the one to stay here, Maya said. You have your whole life ahead of you. You should go back and live it. No, Leo argued. You have a grandmother who loves you. She needs you more than anyone needs me. They argued back and forth, each trying to convince the other to leave. But Elara watched them with a strange expression on her face. Wait, she said suddenly. Something is happening. The mirror is changing. They looked at the mirror and saw a new image forming. It showed both of them standing together, holding hands, with light surrounding them like a warm embrace. Behind them, the sleeping people were waking up, one by one. I do not understand, Maya said. What does this mean? Elara's eyes filled with tears of joy. In all my years of waiting, I have never seen this, she whispered. The greatest sacrifice is not giving up something you love. It is being willing to give up everything for someone else. Both of you chose to sacrifice yourselves for the other, and that act of selfless love has created a new possibility. The mirror glowed brighter and brighter. Suddenly, golden light filled the room and spread throughout the palace. Maya felt warmth flooding through her body, and she knew that something wonderful was happening. The spell was breaking, not because of sacrifice, but because of love. The golden light spread from the mirror room throughout the entire palace. Maya watched in amazement as it flowed like water through the hallways and into the chamber of sleepers. Wherever the light touched, the crystal beds began to glow, and the people inside them started to stir. First, their fingers moved, then their eyes fluttered open. One by one, the sleeping people of the Lost Kingdom woke from their 100-year slumber. They sat up slowly, confused but alive, looking around at the world they had left behind so long ago. What is happening? Leo asked in wonder. They are all waking up. Elara fell to her knees, tears of joy streaming down her face. It worked, she whispered. After all these years, my people are finally free. The palace was suddenly full of voices and movement. People called out to their loved ones. Families reunited with embraces and happy cries. Children who had gone to sleep as babies woke up unchanged, their parents weeping with relief. A tall man with a crown of silver stepped forward from the crowd. His robes were dusty from sleep, but his eyes were bright and intelligent. I am King Aldrich, ruler of this kingdom, he said in a powerful voice. Who has broken the spell that held us captive? Elara rose and bowed to him. My king, it was these two young people, she said, gesturing to Maya and Leo. They passed all 3 tests and did what no one else could do. Their love for each other was strong enough to break the enchantment. King Aldrich looked at Maya and Leo with curiosity and respect. He could tell that they were young, but he also saw the courage in their eyes. Come forward, he commanded gently. Tell me your names and how you came to find this place. Maya told him everything, about the box her great-grandmother had hidden, the map and the golden key, the journey up Shadow Mountain, and the tests they had faced. When she mentioned Raven, the king's face darkened with anger. Raven was once one of our most gifted magicians, he said. but her heart became corrupted by greed and ambition. She was one of those who started the war that nearly destroyed us all. When the queen sealed the kingdom, Raven was left outside as punishment for her crimes. She tried to take the key from Maya, Leo added. She said Maya's great-grandmother stole it from her. The king shook his head. That is a lie. The key was given to Maya's great-grandmother as a sacred trust. She was chosen by the queen herself to guard the key until the right person came along to use it. He turned to Maya with a warm smile. You are the descendant of a great woman. Your family has protected our secret for generations, and now you have fulfilled the promise she made. We are forever in your debt. Maya felt proud and humble at the same time. She had never imagined that her family history was so important. There is still a problem, Elara said worriedly. Raven is still out there. She said she would find another way into the kingdom, and I believe she will try. King Aldrich nodded seriously. We must prepare for her return, he agreed. But first, we must celebrate. Our people have been asleep for too long, and they deserve to know that hope has returned. The next few hours were filled with joy and celebration. The people of the kingdom prepared a great feast in the palace gardens, with food that seemed to appear by magic. Maya and Leo were treated as honored guests, seated at the king's own table. Musicians played beautiful songs, dancers twirled in colorful costumes, and everyone laughed and talked like old friends. For a little while, Maya forgot all about Raven and the dangers that might lie ahead. But her happiness was mixed with sadness. She thought about her grandmother, waiting alone in the little house by the forest. She had promised to come back, but now she was not sure if she could leave this wonderful place. King Aldrich noticed her troubled expression. What weighs on your heart, young hero? He asked kindly. I am thinking about my grandmother, Maya admitted. She is all alone, and I miss her very much. But I also want to stay here and help your people. The king smiled and reached out to hold her hand. The kingdom and the outside world cannot have to be separate forever, he said. Now that the spell is broken, we can open the door between our worlds. Your grandmother can visit here, and you can visit her. Maya's heart leaped with joy. Really? She exclaimed. We do not have to choose one or the other. The old queen sealed us away because she had no other choice, the king explained. But times have changed. With Raven still a threat, we need friends in both worlds who can help us protect the kingdom. He stood and addressed the entire crowd. From this day forward, Maya and Leo shall be named protectors of the kingdom, he declared. They will be welcome here whenever they wish, and they will serve as our ambassadors to the world beyond the mountain. The crowd cheered and applauded. Maya felt tears of happiness rolling down her cheeks. This was better than anything she could have hoped for. Just then, a guard ran into the garden with an urgent message. My king, there is trouble at the gate, he reported. A dark cloud is approaching the mountain. We believe it is the witch Raven returning. The celebration stopped immediately. The joy on everyone's faces was replaced by fear and determination. Maya knew that the final confrontation was about to begin. King Aldrich drew a magnificent sword that glowed with golden light. All who can fight, come with me, he commanded. We will not let Raven destroy what we have rebuilt. Maya and Leo joined the king and his warriors as they marched to the great gate. When they emerged from the tunnel, they saw Raven floating in the air above the mountain, surrounded by swirling black clouds. You thought you could keep me out, Raven screamed. But I have gathered power for years, waiting for this moment. Now that the spell is broken, nothing can stop me from taking what I deserve. She raised her staff and sent bolts of dark lightning crashing down toward the gate. The king's warriors raised their shields, blocking the attack with magical barriers of light. We do not have to fight, Maya called out. The war is over. The kingdom is free. Why do you still want to destroy it? Raven laughed bitterly. You do not understand anything, child. I was supposed to rule this kingdom with my power, but they rejected me. They said my heart was too dark, that I could never be trusted. I will prove them wrong by burning it all to the ground. Maya felt sorry for Raven. Beneath all her anger was a wounded heart that had never healed. But she could not let Raven hurt innocent people. Your heart is dark because you made it that way, Maya said. You chose power over love, revenge over forgiveness. It is not too late to change. Raven hesitated for just a moment. Maya saw a flicker of something in her eyes, something that might have been regret. But then her face hardened again. It is too late for me, she snarled. There is only one path left, and I will follow it to the end. She raised her staff for a final devastating attack. Dark energy crackled around her, growing stronger and stronger. Maya did not know what to do. They could not defeat someone so powerful in a direct fight. But then she remembered the compass her grandmother had given her, the one that always pointed toward her true destination. She pulled out the compass and looked at it. Instead of pointing toward the kingdom, it was pointing directly at Raven. Maya understood now. Her true destination was not a place, but a person. She had to reach Raven's heart. Without thinking, Maya ran forward, pushing past the warriors. Maya, no! Leo shouted, chasing after her. But Maya did not stop. She ran straight toward Raven, holding up the compass like a shield. I know you are hurt, Maya called up to the witch. I know you feel alone and rejected. But hurting others will not make the pain go away. Raven faltered. The dark energy around her flickered. What do you know about my pain? She demanded, but her voice was shaking. I know that love is stronger than hate, Maya said. I know that everyone deserves a second chance. Even you! She held the compass up high, and it began to glow with brilliant silver light. The light expanded and reached toward Raven, touching the darkness around her. Where the light touched the darkness, it dissolved like shadows at dawn. Raven screamed, but it was not a scream of pain. It was the cry of someone releasing years of anger and sorrow. The dark clouds disappeared. Raven slowly lowered to the ground, her staff falling from her hands. When she looked up at Maya, her eyes were different, softer, clearer, and full of tears. How? She whispered. How could you forgive someone like me? Maya smiled and offered her hand. Because forgiveness is not about what someone deserves, she said. It is about choosing love over fear. And I choose love. Raven took Maya's hand and wept. Years of loneliness and bitterness poured out of her, and when she finally stopped crying, she looked younger and more peaceful than before. King Aldrich stepped forward. His face was stern, but not unkind. You have caused great harm, Raven, he said. But if your heart has truly changed, there may be a place for you among us once again. And so the battle ended not with violence, but with compassion. Raven began her long journey of making amends for her past, and the kingdom started rebuilding the connections between their world and the one above. Maya returned home to her grandmother, who cried with joy when she saw her. She told the old woman everything that had happened, and her grandmother listened with wonder and pride. You did what I could never do, her grandmother said. You opened the door and brought the kingdom back to life. Your great-grandmother would be so happy. Maya smiled and hugged her grandmother tightly,